From our studios in Kokomo, Indiana, this is the Jacob Pyle Show, starring Jacob Pyle, featuring Zach Brown, and tonight's guest, Rhonda Parker Taylor. Ladies and gentlemen, Jacob Pyle.
Thank you, Bush McCain. All right. It's that feeling that someone is standing behind me, and I turn around and there's no one there. And it's the sensation that someone just whispered, I still hear your voice, but you're not really here. Your memory's like a ghost, and my heart is its host. I can still feel you just as close to skin every now and then. All by myself in the crowded room or an empty bed. There's a place you've touched with your love no one gets close to. I can still feel you. 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 You said you loved me forever, then you said it's over, and left me without the missing link. I thought I'd forget you, but I guess I forgot to, and lately I've been too confused to think. When I reach for someone new, it's like I'm touching you. I can still feel you just as close to skin every now and then. All by myself in a crowded room or an empty bed. There's a place you've touched with your love no one gets close to. I can still feel you. 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 In everything that moves, in everything I do, I can still feel you just close to skin every now and then. All by myself in a crowded room or an empty bed. There's a place you've touched with your love no one gets close to. I can still feel you. 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 Oh, I can still feel you. Yeah. Thank you. I stared out the window and I struggled for something to say. You left in the rain without closing the door. I didn't stand in your way. Now I miss you more than I missed you before. Now where I'll find comfort, God knows, 'cause you left me just when I needed you most. without closing the door. I didn't stand in your way. Now I love you more than I loved you before. Now where I'll find comfort, God knows, 'cause you left me just when I needed you most. Just when I needed you most. You left me just when I needed you most. All right, thank you. Hello everybody and welcome to the Jacob Pyle Show for the Saturday night, Sunday morning end of January 31st, 2026. My name is Jacob Pyle and I'm glad to have you with us. And now I'd like to introduce to all of you my co-host for this week, Zach Brown.
Hey Jacob, how's it going?
I'm doing great, how are you?
I'm doing awesome, thanks for asking. A little cold, but doing great, thank you.
Did you guys survive the winter storm of 2026 that we had last week?
Yes, we did survive the storm, thank goodness. About 10 inches of snow. It's like negative 20 degrees out with the wind chill right now, so and my back's a little sore, from all the shoveling. So, you know how that goes.
All right, well, we have an amazing show in store for you. Zach, take it away.
Our guest for this week was supposed to have been Cassie Brown from Miss Green's Jungle, but due to a last-minute cancellation on her part, we are going to re-show one of the very first episodes that Jacob did of The Jacob Pyle Show, featuring as our guest Rhonda Parker Taylor, and we'll have her on here in a bit. But before we go to break, it's time for this week's On This Date trivia question. And this week, we're switching things up. We're not going to give you the year. That's what you have to figure out. So, on this date, January 31st, Congress passed by a vote of 121 to 24 the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, abolishing slavery in the United States except as punishment for a crime. What year did they pass the 13th Amendment? Put your thinking caps on and we'll be back with another hint for you when the Jacob Pyle Show continues. Welcome back. Before we continue with our guest, let's go back to this week's On This Date trivia question. On this date, January 31st, Congress passed by a vote of 121 to 24 the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, abolishing slavery in the United States except as a punishment for crimes. What year did they pass the 13th Amendment? Here's a hint. The year is between 1800 and 1900. I'll have more on that later in the program, but for now, here's Jacob.
Thank you, Zach, and welcome back to our program. So as Zach mentioned at the beginning of the show, my guest for this week was supposed to have been Cassie Brown of Miss Green's Jungle. However, she literally messaged me yesterday saying that she is not prepared and asked if we could reschedule or cancel her appearance on our show this week. I have been doing podcasts off and on for almost 14 years now. Now, I've never in the history of me doing podcasts had a guest cancel an appearance like that last minute, all because of the fact he or she wasn't prepared to do the show. We did have someone ask to reschedule her appearance on a moment's notice back in the days of when we were taping our episodes in Fishers, but it was because of an emergency with her family that couldn't wait, which was an understandable thing, and we were able to reschedule and we were able to get another guest on last minute. But tonight, the guest canceled on me, and we literally have no one else willing to step in at the last minute as our guest. So, instead of me having a guest on our show tonight, and I hope you guys will forgive me for this, we are going to show a rerun instead. My guest on this rerun, this was taped back in 2023, when our show was so referred to as Jacob Pyle's Night Talk. It was an author by the name of Rhonda Parker Taylor. So, here's part one of my interview with Rhonda Parker Taylor.
Thank you. It was so good to meet you, and thank you for having me. Welcome everybody out there. I'm so thrilled to engage with you, and I can't wait to see what all of our conversation has today.
So when I was doing I do homework on my guests, as most of you know before the show. When I was doing my research, it said that you were originally from Noblesville, Indiana. Is that true?
That's correct. I was born in Noblesville, Riverview Hospital. Yay! And I grew up there. I went to school at Heritage Christian School from my pre-kindergarten to my senior year. My family still lives in Noblesville. My mother and father founded Noble Industries, a manufacturing company that does a lot of the Firestone parts. And my brother and sister now run Noble Industries, and I live in Indianapolis now.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, I had to bring that up because I actually live in Noblesville myself. So yeah,
it's a wonderful, wonderful. Hamilton County is about the best in the world.
It is. So let's talk about the books. Well, or let's talk about you. What has your journey as an author in the writing process been like?
Oh my goodness, everybody has a story. Really, we do. Everybody, and I hear it all the time. I really want to write this book. Well, for me, it was a journey of just self-development and knowing I could do it. I wrote it 20 years ago. It sat on my desk for 20 years. I didn't want to make myself vulnerable to say, hey, look, everybody, I did it. And then finally one day I went to do, because it's a series, there's 4 of them. And I went to go get something else off the floppy disk that had all 4 of them in it, and the document had been eaten.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, so I'm looking at, and luckily, because I'm kind of one of those fearful people, I had printed all of them. And I looked at it, and I thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to type and re-edit every single one of them if I don't do something with it. And then I thought about all the writing mentors I had saying all the best novels are either in someone's head or in someone's closet. And I'm like, okay, it's time. And my sister said, you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable. You write for others all the time. That's what you do for a living. You're an academic researcher. But the reason you're not doing anything with it is because you have to put yourself out there.
True.
That's hard, isn't it?
It is.
It's very hard to put yourself out there.
Yeah. So, can you tell us, for those who have not read the book, and don't give away any spoilers or anything like that, but can you tell us about your book?
Oh, sure. Okay, so Crossroads is based out of Indianapolis. It's about a workaholic that thinks she has everything together. She went to college. She's working in a fictitious, because it is a fictitious book, she works in United Bank of Indiana, which there is no such thing, but United Bank of Indiana in Indianapolis in the AUL building.
Okay.
And if you remember, the AUL building is now, I think, Salesforce building, and she gets called for jury duty of a murder of a 15-year-old girl.
Wow. Okay.
And that event with it, we all try to get out of jury duty. Boy, she tried like heck to get out of it. Mm-hmm. How many of you tried to get out of jury duty? But of course, they don't let you. And she ended up being the foreman, and her whole life unfolds. First of all, she's exposed to people that she normally wouldn't associate with in the jury room. She's also exposed to the legal system. And she realizes that some part of her life is just not what she intended it to be, because and that her life is unbalanced. And then people start getting sick around her. They start dying. And then we don't want to be a spoiler alert, but there's a true lesson in it. So I think when I wrote it, I thought it was about the jury, which we all like jury books, but it really also revealed thoughts about our relationships with people and how we develop them.
Okay, cool. What story would you like to highlight?
Out of the book? Or out of life?
I'll tell you what, I think, I think you pretty much told the book in the little segment thing. So, but in life,
I think what I would like everybody in life, and think about it, when you have relationships we compare ourselves so much all the time that we literally tear ourselves apart. And one of the lessons learned in Crossroads is anger is cruel. And this comes out of Proverbs. And that's true, anger is cruel.
Right.
Fury is overwhelming, which all of those things could cause a crime.
Right.
But Proverbs says, but who can stand before jealousy? Envy makes the bones rot.
Right.
And really, when you think about it, it does. It destroys. If I were envious about your job, which I, think broadcasting is wonderful, I may never become an author.
Yeah, not really.
Because I would be so worried about trying to be you that I'm not me. And it's vice versa. And then it destroys that relationship. And my dad always said, because there was 5 of us growing up in Noblesville, and back then there was a lot of cows, not as many buildings. And he would always say, life isn't fair, stop comparing yourself. You're robbing yourself of joy. True.
That's very true. All right. At what age did you realize your fascination with books?
Well, I would have said, not until I got older, but I went back and I was looking at pictures and I always had a book in my hand. But you know what? I was never good academically back then. So when someone thinks that, maybe this or that, I had to have a tutor in English. And it was because there were some learning issues there. But I always had a book. I liked encyclopedias, and I liked reading things I wasn't supposed to. I was one of those children that wanted to see all the world, or maybe I got the book Carmen, or something that was, not considered necessarily age appropriate, or had lots of pictures.
Yeah.
So I do. I have books when I was 3, pictures of me holding a book at 3 years old.
Wow. I know one of my favorite books growing up was the Dr. Seuss books.
Yeah.
Cat in the Hat, How to
Green
Grow
Eggs,
Christmas, things like that.
green eggs and ham.
Green Eggs and Ham. When we return, I'll have the conclusion to my interview with Rhonda Parker Taylor. Stay with us.
If you'd like to be a guest on the Jacob Pyle Show, send Jacob an email. His email address is jtpyle1@AOL.com. That's also where to mail if you'd like a DVD copy of the show. Please mention the air date seen on screen when ordering. The DVD is $10. Residents outside of Indiana will pay just an additional $5 for shipping and handling. Now back to this week's On This Date trivia question. On this date, January 31st, Congress passed by a vote of 121 to 24 the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, abolishing slavery in the United States, except as punishment for a crime. What year did they pass the 13th Amendment? Last break, I mentioned that the year is between 1800 and 1900. I'm now going to narrow it down even further by saying that the year is between 1860 and 1870. I'll have the answer for you at the end of the program. But for right now, back to Jacob.
Welcome back. My guest for today is author of Crossroads, a suspense novel, Rhonda Parker Taylor. All right. When did you start writing?
Well, academically, obviously, I went to school, got associates, bachelor's, master's, and a doctorate. And I started writing in one of the writing classes. And one of the first writing classes that you have to take is like the 101. And they wanted you to do your first memory. And it took me forever. And then I remembered the destruction of my pink blanket. And that was the first essay I wrote. And it was the pink blanket that I had when I was a kid when they decided I needed to give it up. Mm-hmm. I'd carried it probably till, I don't know, if I would probably still be carrying it if they allowed me to keep it.
All right. Now, we talked a little bit about your book in the first segment. What is the lesson of your book?
The lesson is, it's twofold. Life balance. the first one is you can think you're on the right path in your life, and like for instance, for me, work is a core value. And when I went through and I had to rethink my life, I had to realize, wait a minute, you aren't doing the things that make you happy. And so when I wrote the book, I realized, that's kind of what I was writing about the character. It was like, okay, it's time to find what you really enjoy. An example, I thought I was balanced.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, okay, I did the work and I did the home and I did the entertainment and the exercise, but then I was like, okay, wait a minute, but what are you really doing for yourself? My time was watching TV.
Really?
TV wasn't in the top 5 things that I wanted to be doing.
That was exactly mine too. I used to watch them old TV shows and cartoons growing up. So
yeah, so I had to say, okay, well, what do you really enjoy? Well, first, I love cooking, and I used to love to entertain, but I didn't have as much time to entertain, and I like feed people, and do that socialization. So I was like, well, why am I not cooking for myself? DoorDash is nice,
true.
But you know what? It's better when it's hot and you made it the way you like it, and why aren't you doing that? So I really had to rethink what my life balance goals were for myself. I took a few weeks and I pulled out a workbook that I had created for my classes because I was a college professor on life balance, and I made myself do the exercises, and I did a 3-5-year plan of all the things I wanted to do, like what vacations did I want to do, what did I want to do in my home. I had to get myself up and move, and I'm not talking moving just for exercise. I'm talking about moving to enjoy my house, my life, and sit in different rooms. Why do you decorate your house if you're not going to use each room?
Right.
Or if you're not going to use each piece of furniture that you picked out. So lay back in that lounge chair once in a while that you're afraid is too pristine. So the life lesson of the book is not only just the murder mystery, it's what is it that brings you that joy? And as you discover it through Paris's life, I'm hoping that the readers also say, okay, what is it that I like? And then also, who can you trust really in your life? Who is your backbone? Sometimes we put false loyalties out there. And that's what Paris did. She was a loyal person, but you know what? Who was loyal to her? And that's what you have to decide. Are you putting the effort into your own life? Are you doing all the things to make you happy that you want to make happy?
So, how did you overcome adversity?
Oh my goodness. If you knew my life, I don't know about your life, but my life has been a game of uncle.
Really?
Yes. I like to go all the way to the edge and then play the game of uncle, and then when my hands are bleeding, then I say, okay, it's time to change. I give up. All right, Lord, I give it to you, whatever it might be. But I've also had where my choice, and there's 2 ways that adversity can happen. I've had life tragedy, I've had, relationship tragedies at different points, but one thing that you have to realize is you have to have your storage already there in resilience. If you're not putting things in place when things aren't adverse, when life hits, it's going to take you all the way to the edge, and you won't want to get out of bed. So for me, I try to put things daily in my life, whether it be vitamin D from the sun, whether it be trying to stay up on top of my stuff. I adopted a young man in his he was 13 years old, and him and his mother and I raised him, and he was adult, he had kids, he was working, he got shot and killed. So we not only, raised them together, we had to bury them together. And the justice system let us down. They let them go. Because they didn't have the witnesses, all the witnesses were dead. He was a bouncer. So, you know, when those moments come, I don't know how you do it, but the first thing is your emotions go everywhere. So I try to just pull it in for just a second. One time I saw a crack in the foundation of the wall. You know, they go all the way up to the ceilings. And what I did is I just followed the crack, just for that moment of that bad news, to say, you know what, you got this. And then I do Frosty. You said you like the comics and the children's things. Frosty the Snowman. Put one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be out the door. Yes. So once you get that moment together of, you know, wait a minute, I'm panicking, I can't handle this, is this too much? You just put one foot. And then hopefully you don't melt.
Great interview, by the way. Before Jacob sings his closing song, back to this week's On This Date trivia question. On this date, January 31st, Congress passes by a vote of 121 to 24 the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, abolishing slavery in the United States except as punishment for a crime. What year did they pass the 13th Amendment? Now, last break I mentioned that the years between 1860 and 1870. The answer? The 13th Amendment was passed on January 31st of 1865.
I want to thank Rhonda Parker Taylor for stopping by for an amazing interview. Join us again next week, same bad time, same bad channel, assuming the guest will be here, when our guest will be theremin player Zan Van Hughes. We hope you can join us then.
For Rhonda Parker and for all of us on the Jacob Pyle Show, I'm Zach Brown. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, and good night, everybody.
Like the pine trees lining the winding road, I've got a name, I've got a name. Like the singing bird and the croaking toad, I've got a name, I've got a name. And I carry it with me like my daddy did, and I'm living the dream that he kept hid. Rolling me down the highway, rolling me down the highway, moving ahead so life won't pass me by. I'm Jacob Pyle. Good night, everybody.
I'm Butch McCain. The opinions expressed on this pre-recorded program are solely those of the participants and does not necessarily reflect the views of this program or Pyle Media Ventures, Inc. Pyle Media Ventures, Inc. produces this program and is solely responsible for its content.